Dawn broke over Gravity Falls as Ford's instruments suddenly went haywire. "This isn't just Bill's influence," Ford gasped, staring at the readings. "He's using the townspeople as a beacon to contact the Therapism, the interdimensional prison where he's being held." Dipper's eyes widened. Prison? But how is he controlling everyone if he's locked up? Ford was already pulling out blueprints. He's projecting his consciousness through the psychic residue from Weirdmageddon. We have minutes before he completes the connection. Stan grabbed Ford's shoulder. "What do we do?" Ford's hands moved frantically over the blueprints. "We use my emergency portal device. It's been ready for years, a targeted gateway that can breach dimensional barriers without causing a rift." The golden light outside pulsed faster, more urgently. "He's almost through," Ford shouted, assembling the compact portal device with practiced precision. The machine hummed to life, its crystalline core glowing with interdimensional energy. "Wait," Dipper said. "We're actually going into an interdimensional prison?" Ford nodded grimly. "The Therapism exists outside time and space. It's where cosmic criminals are rehabilitated. Bill's using it as his base of operations." Stan cracked his knuckles. "Well, if Triangle Boy wants to play prison warden, let's show him what real wardens look like." The portal device sparked and whirred, reality beginning to bend around its edges. Ford input the final coordinates. "The Therapism's location is here." The portal tore open with a sound like reality itself screaming. Beyond the swirling vortex, they could see a massive structure floating in an endless void, part prison, part hospital, all nightmare. "Remember," Ford warned as they approached the portal, "in the Therapism, we'll be surrounded by every interdimensional criminal ever sentenced. Bill won't be our only problem." The golden light from town grew blinding, and they could hear a familiar triangular laugh echoing from the portal. "Too late to back out now," Stan muttered. "Let's go crash Bill's therapy session." One by one, the Three Pines men stepped through the portal. Dipper went first, his heart pounding as he crossed into the void between dimensions. The moment they emerged on the other side, they found themselves in a sterile white corridor lined with cells. Each cell contained horrors beyond imagination, creatures that had terrorized entire galaxies, now supposedly being rehabilitated. And somewhere in this maze of cosmic justice, Bill Cipher was waiting. "Welcome to the Therapism," came a familiar voice over the intercom system. But it wasn't Bill's voice. It was distorted, multiplied, as if spoken by 1,000 throats at once. "I've been expecting you, Pines family. Though I must say, you're just in time for my graduation ceremony." Ford's face went pale. "Graduation ceremony?" The voice laughed, and now they could hear Bill's distinctive cackle mixed in with the others. "Oh yes, Stanford. I've been a very good patient, and good patients get to leave. With a few new friends, of course." Alarms began blaring throughout the facility. Red lights flashed as cell doors started opening one by one. "You see," Bill's voice continued, "I didn't just learn to project my consciousness back to Gravity Falls. I learned to project it into my fellow inmates. And now, we're all going home together." The Three Pines men found themselves face to face with their greatest challenge yet. They had entered the Therapism to stop Bill Cipher, but instead, they had walked directly into his trap. The interdimensional prison was about to become a launching pad for the greatest jailbreak in cosmic history. As monstrous roars echoed through the corridors and reality itself began to crack around them, Ford whispered, "What have we done?" The portal behind them flickered and died, cutting off their escape route. They were trapped in the Therapism with Bill Cipher and every cosmic horror he had convinced to join his cause. The fate of not just Gravity Falls, but the entire multiverse, now hung in the balance. And somewhere in the chaos, Bill Cipher's laughter grew louder, more triumphant. The real battle for reality was about to begin. Gravity Falls Season 3 Episode 5, Face to Face with the Triangle. The chaos in the Therapism corridors was deafening. Cosmic horrors roared as they escaped their cells, and somewhere in the madness, Bill Cipher's laughter echoed like a symphony of malice. Dipper, Stan, and Ford pressed themselves against a wall, watching in horror as the greatest jailbreak in multiverse history unfolded before their eyes. "We need to find Bill," Ford shouted over the cacophony. But as they moved deeper into the facility, following that familiar triangular laugh, they realized they weren't hunting Bill Cipher. He was leading them exactly where he wanted them to go. The corridor suddenly fell silent. They rounded the corner and found themselves in a vast circular room, the heart of the Therapism. Floating in the center was Bill Cipher himself, no longer confined by any cell. But something was different. He seemed more solid, more real than ever before. Well, if it isn't my favorite family of meddlers." Bill's voice boomed through the chamber with an odd warmth that made their skin crawl. "Stanford, Stanley, and Little Dipper. You have no idea how long I've been waiting for this reunion." Ford stepped forward with determination. "Bill, whatever you're planning, it ends here. You've manipulated enough people, destroyed enough lives." Bill's eye crinkled with delight. "Oh, Fordsy," still so serious. "But you're missing the bigger picture." Bill gestured around the chamber. "Do you know what this place really is? The Therapism isn't just a prison. It's a rehabilitation center. And guess what? I've been rehabilitated. I've learned so much about friendship, about family, about cooperation." Stan snorted with disgust. "Rehabilitated? You just broke out every cosmic criminal in this place." Bill's laugh was like breaking glass mixed with wind chimes. "Oh, Stanley, I didn't break them out. I convinced them to leave. I used my words, my charm, my newly developed people skills." Dipper's voice trembled with anger. "You manipulated them just like you manipulated everyone in Gravity Falls. You haven't changed at all." Bill's eye focused on Dipper intensely. "Ah, Pine Tree, you're absolutely right. I haven't changed. I've evolved." Bill's form started to glow with golden light. "The Therapism taught me something wonderful. I don't need to destroy reality to remake it. I just need to convince everyone that my way is better. And after spending eons surrounded by the multiverse's greatest criminals, I've learned exactly how to do that." Ford's instruments began beeping frantically. "Bill, you're destabilizing the entire facility." Bill's grin widened impossibly. "I know. Isn't it exciting? But don't worry. I have a plan for all of us." Bill floated closer, his voice dropping to a conversational tone. "Here's what's going to happen. You three are going to help me return to our dimension. Not as enemies, but as family. Because that's what we are, isn't it? We've been through so much together." Stan stepped protectively in front of Dipper. "Over my dead body, triangle freak. We stopped you once, we'll stop you again." Bill's eye gleamed with something that might have been genuine sadness. "Oh, Stanley, always so confrontational. But I've learned that there are more than two sides to every story." The chamber began to shake as dimensional rifts opened around them. "You see," Bill continued, "my fellow inmates weren't just criminals. They were visionaries like me. And now they're out there, sharing our message across the multiverse." Ford realized with growing horror what Bill had accomplished. "You didn't just escape. You created a network. Every criminal you befriended is now spreading your influence across their home dimensions." Bill applauded. "Exactly. I knew you'd figure it out, Stanford." Dipper looked around desperately. "There has to be a way to stop this." Bill's voice became almost gentle. "There is, Pine Tree. Join me, all of you. Help me create a multiverse where everyone gets what they want." For a moment, they could see it, a reality where the constant struggle was over. But Ford shook his head firmly. "No, Bill. We've seen what your help looks like. We'll find another way." Bill's expression shifted, the mock warmth draining from his voice. "I was hoping you'd say that, because sometimes the people you care about most are the ones who need the most convincing." The golden light intensified, and suddenly they weren't in the Therapism anymore. They were back in Gravity Falls, standing in the town square. But something was wrong. The townspeople moved with perfect synchronization, their eyes glowing with golden light. "Welcome home," Bill said, his voice coming from every throat in the crowd. "Let me show you what a truly rehabilitated Bill Cipher can accomplish." As the possessed townspeople closed in, Ford whispered urgently, Remember, this isn't real. Bill's projecting this. We just have to find a way back to reality. But as Bill's laughter filled the air and the golden-eyed crowd pressed closer, that seemed like an impossible task. The confrontation had become something far more terrifying. Not a battle they could win with force, but a psychological war where reality itself was the battlefield. And Bill Cipher was still the master of that particular game. Gravity Falls Season 3, Episode 6, Weirdmageddon, The Return. The projection flickered and shattered completely, revealing the devastating truth. The Therapism was collapsing around them, but worse than that, Bill was no longer there. The chamber was empty except for the three of them, trapped in a facility tearing itself apart. "He's gone," Dipper breathed. While we were trapped in his projection, he escaped. Ford's instruments screamed warnings as reality unraveled. "Not just escaped," Ford said grimly. "He's returned to our dimension. And this time, he's not alone." Using Ford's remaining equipment, they created a makeshift dimensional rift. But as they stepped through, they weren't prepared for what awaited them. Gravity Falls was exactly as Bill had shown them. But this time, it was real. The town square was filled with their friends and neighbors, all moving with terrifying synchronization. Seuss, Wendy, Sheriff Blubbs, everyone they cared about now bore the golden glow of Bill's influence. This wasn't an illusion. This was Weirdmageddon returned and more complete than ever. "Welcome home, gentlemen." Bill's voice boomed from the sky, where his massive triangular form hovered like a malevolent sun. "I told you I'd learned about cooperation. Look how beautifully everyone's working together now." The possessed townspeople turned as one, their smiles perfectly identical and utterly wrong. Bill descended, more solid and imposing than they had ever seen. "You see, while you were playing detective in my prison cell, I was already here. The Bill you met in the Therapism? Just a projection, a distraction while I completed my real work." His laughter shook the foundations of reality. Ford stepped forward, voice filled with rage. "You used us. You made us think we were stopping you when we were helping you escape." Bill's eye crinkled with delight. "Oh, Stanford, you always were my favorite student." "Yes, I needed someone to break the Therapism's containment from the inside." Stan and Dipper flanked Ford with grim determination. "So what now, Bill? What's the endgame?" Bill's form shifted, becoming more elaborate and terrifying. "Simple, Stanley. I'm going to remake not just this reality, but every reality. The multiverse will become my playground." Dipper's heart broke as he saw Mabel among the possessed, her eyes glowing with golden light. There has to be a way to save them. Bill's attention focused on Dipper with predatory interest. "Oh, Pine Tree, still so optimistic. But you're right. There is something you can do." Bill gestured, and a swirling portal opened behind him, showing glimpses of his true dimension. "You can come with me, all three of you. Enter my domain willingly, and I'll consider sparing this pathetic little town. Refuse, and watch as I turn everyone you've ever loved into my eternal puppets." The choice was impossible: sacrifice themselves or watch their loved ones suffer forever. But Ford made a decision that surprised them all. "We'll come with you, Bill, but not as your prisoners, as your opponents. If we're going to end this, it has to be in your realm, on your terms." Bill's laughter cracked reality itself. "Excellent. I was hoping you'd choose the hard way. It's so much more entertaining." The portal grew larger, its depths promising horrors beyond imagination. "Welcome to the final game, Pine's family. Let's see if you can save your precious multiverse from the inside out." As they stepped toward the portal, Dipper looked back one last time at the possessed town, at Mabel's golden-eyed stare, at everything they were leaving behind. "We'll come back," he whispered. "We'll save them all." But as Bill's dimension swallowed them whole, that promise seemed as fragile as reality itself. The portal closed with a sound like the universe screaming. Gravity Falls was left in Bill's control, its people trapped in golden-eyed servitude, while the only ones who could stop him had walked willingly into his ultimate trap. Weirdmageddon had returned, and Bill Cipher was truly the king of everything. But in the swirling chaos of Bill's dimension, where nightmares were the only reality, Three determined souls prepared for the fight of their lives. Because sometimes the only way to defeat a monster is to face him in his own domain, where the rules are his, but the will to fight is still your own.